I willingly and joyfully give this love to others. See, you're giving it to others. For whose sake? What happens when you do that? Who feels better? Now, they will, okay. But who feels better? It's moving through you. It's moving through you. It's moving through you. Everyone say, love unfolding. I love what Ernest Holmes said, the hand of eternal progress is brushing the cobwebs from the corridors of time and is again revealing to the human race the mysteries of being. The mysteries of being. Okay. I think the greatest thing about this teaching, since we're not told what to think, we're only shown how to think, is that the how applied never limits itself. I want to share with all of you that something wonderful is happening, and I think it's going to be a positive, we're accepting a positive growth and positive experience here. There is a production company that is about to do the life of Ernest Holmes. And I have been asked to do Ernest in the movie. So we're going to do it. We're going to conclude the film with Sermon by the Sea, and I would invite all of you. I've been doing it for 28 years at Asilomar, but it was Ernest Holmes' last and most important lecture he ever gave. And I will be doing it both weeks at Asilomar this year on Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But what are we doing? Somebody got an idea, somebody moved with the idea, somebody financed the idea, and then they got the idea. I mean, who else is going to play Ernest Holmes? I had to learn how to talk a different way, which I can do. So, an idea coming forth. Okay, now here's your idea. Everyone say, if I rehearse long enough, the curtain will go up. Now, my challenge to you this morning is, are you ready to pull back and look at what you're rehearsing? What are you rehearsing? Your fears, your doubts, your uncertainty? Are you rehearsing why everything can't go right? Are you rehearsing how terrible the market is and this is and that is and why we say? How many know people who spend all day, every day justifying what they say they don't want? Everybody say, if that's the way it's been, I put the brakes on it this morning. I love what Dr. Holmes said, and let me correlate it this way. I was thinking of a subtitle for my lesson this morning. How to do what you say you know. Everybody say with me, I now get over myself so I can get on with things. Okay. How many know people that are not getting on with things because they can't get over what? Their self. They can't get on with life because they can't get over a hurt. They can't get on with life because they can't forgive. They can't get on with life because they're doing what? I don't care what anybody has ever done to you at any time. They only did it once. Every time you rehash it, they're not doing it anymore. You have what? Made the choice to keep doing it to yourself. Now, the challenge I'm going to give you this morning is, how many ready to stop doing it and start something new? How many ready to give up that nonsense and move on, ease on down the road? Everybody say, ease on down the road. Okay. And what are we doing? When you're easing on down the road of life, what are you doing? That came from, The Wiz, which is about the Wizard of Oz. And it's very, very interesting. What happens when they get to Oz? What happens when they meet Oz? The first thing Oz says is, don't pay attention to that guy behind the curtain down there. And then they suddenly realize, what? That Oz never gave the Tin Man nothing he didn't already have. Okay. That they had the brain they were looking for, the love they were looking for, the life they were looking for. It arrived with them. We're all on the yellow brick road. Some are going, some are coming back. The ones coming back are wiser. Everybody say wisdom in action. So we could subtitle this morning, How to Get Over Yourself. How to get over yourself so you can get on with things. Dr. Holmes said, you have discovered the spiritual universe. Many others have discovered the same world, but each makes the discovery for himself. You are going to have a lot of joy sailing around this world of yours. Don't fight the opinions of others or waste your time arguing over these things. Follow the inward gleam of your consciousness and you will arrive. How many know they live their life at the level of their religious definition and all they want to do is argue with everybody who doesn't believe it? So they spend their whole life arguing instead of doing what? Living and being. Isn't it interesting? Lo here, lo there. Where's the kingdom? Jesus said it's within us. If it is, it's within us now. We don't have to die to get it. I love what Alan Watts says about omnipotence. Interesting word. Omnipotence is knowing how everything is done. Oh, I'm sorry. Omnipotence is not knowing how everything is done, it's just doing it. It's not knowing how it's done, it's just doing it. My time on the radio, I spent 18 years on the radio out of San Francisco. And back when I had the radio program, we had a wonderful family. In fact, I just heard from her grandchildren who now have children. And she was a wonderful, wonderful member here and the school teacher. She was an English teacher. And she listened to my radio program every day, and I would usually get at least one phone call a week reminding me how to really pronounce a word. And, everybody's saying, I have a subjective mind. Okay. Now, we all have one, and I have one that grew up in Texas. And somewhere in my subjective mind, all the Texas vocabulary is still there, and the way they pronounce their words is still there. And one morning, I was talking about omnipotence. But that morning, I decided to call it omnipotence. I am omnipotent. Anyhow, I got a call that afternoon reminding me that was not the way to pronounce the word. Everybody say omnipotence. Omnipotence. It means everywhere at once. Omnipotence means everything that has been, everything that will be is all happening at once. Okay. Omnipotence is right here and right now. Now, we need to see things the right way and understand. Everybody say, how many have a verdict going on in your life right now you're ready to cancel? Okay, everybody say, I refuse the verdict. I refuse the verdict. Okay, I want you to think about any kind of verdict you might be hanging on to, and this is going to be the morning to refuse it. There's a wonderful story, I think it was Henny Youngman used to tell the story about the operation that he had several operations, and it was time to go back to the doctor after the last operation, and walked in, the doctor looked really grim, and he asked what was wrong, and the doctor said, well, I got bad news for you. You only have 6 months to live. You only have 6 months to live. He said, oh my God, doctor, I'll never be able to pay my bill in 6 months. So the doctor extended it another 6 months. All right, we'll give you another 6 here. I love it. I think Reverend Bob, how many know, give Reverend Bob a hand. He used to be chaplain over. If you know anybody that ever goes into Washington Hospital, Bob's the chaplain over there, and it's wonderful. I know 3 years ago I was involved in chemotherapy over there, and guess what? Guess who sat in the room with me all day, every day? Reverend Bob. So anybody know anybody who's in the hospital, you let us know and whatever. And I promise you, if Bob walks in there, he's going to see the truth of you. It was George Lewis who said creativity can solve almost any problem. The creative act, the defeat of habit by originality, overcomes everything. Did you hear that? If you don't hear anything else this morning, hear that. The creative act is the defeat of what? Of your nonsense. The creative act will defeat your limitation, your creative act. Why? Because it defeats the habit of being where you were by way of what? Original thinking. Okay. How many know that you can use some original thinking in your life right now? Okay. How many know that how many know that we spend a lot of time wasting our time thinking about stuff that has never worked, is not going to work now, and will never work? Okay. So how about changing your mind and learning how to live with the change? The idea, as Dale Carnegie pointed out, any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. Okay. How many know that it's easy to criticize, condemn, and complain? Okay. Now, metaphysicians, if your consciousness is criticizing, condemning, and complaining, what are you going to set in motion? What kind of life are you going to live? What are you going to fill your day with every day of your life if your consciousness is only focused on criticizing, complaining, and condemning? Don't you have to fill your life full of things to criticize and condemn and complain about? If you affirm that you're a victim, don't you? If you got all the victims out of your life, I promise you by the time the week's over, you're going to have more victimizers. You'll just replace them with another one.